When you finish feeding the chickens, can you get that barn cleared out?
What's up?
Well, it's in a right state. And your mum's been cleaning the house, so you can pull your weight and all.
Are we on bonus or something?
Hey!
Well, it's all this extra work. I didn't think you cleaning up house would be part of the deal.
Well, I don't mind. I mean, Sarah will want the place fresh when she brings that baby back from the hospital.
Don't you realise Jack's left me in charge of the farm? I want to impress him when he comes home.
What's it matter? You said Jack Sugden was desperate for help. I mean, he's lucky to get us.
Maybe we've started to notice how many people round here are desperate for work.
This job might not be the greatest in the world, but until I get something better, I want to hang on to it.
All right, I get the message.
We don't want anything going wrong while he's away. What's up with him?
Well, I think we ought to go to the police. They can't go around making threats like that.
The Dingles will just deny it, of course. It'll be our word against theirs. And I suppose the police probably think he just got off on a technicality.
That's not true.
Yes, well, this sort of thing doesn't help, does it? Police investigations into the death continue and further charges may be made.
Perhaps we ought to hide that before Luke comes down.
Well, we could always buy them up like we did when you and the Nobbies were in them.
Oh, come on, Jess, it's not the same thing at all.
You don't really think they'll charge him with anything else, do you?
Well, the Courier seems to be banking on it.
Morning, all.
Morning, son.
Luke, I thought you were going to have a lie-in this morning.
Do that. Don't want to be late for school.
I think everybody would understand if you wanted to take a bit of time off.
I've already taken some time off.
You've been through an awful lot. You do need some rest.
Why are you sitting on the paper, Jess?
Oh, Luke.
I'm not going to let the Dingles make me a prisoner in my own home.
No, of course not. But perhaps you should let the dust settle a little bit before you go back to school.
People are going to say things, either to my face or behind my back.
Yeah, he's right. It's better to go to school and face up to it.
You're just going to have to get used to being threatened and talked about. Sorry, but there's nothing I can do.
Well, just you remember that we're all here to help you in whatever way we can.
Yeah. Thanks, Mum.
Local paper's got plenty of coverage on young Luke. Callisters aren't going to be too pleased about that.
Our turn next week. The last of Reg's raiders comes to trial.
OK, you'll get a mention, but everyone's going to be on your side.
Well, some things are left best forgotten. Think how Alan Turner's going to feel.
Yeah, he hasn't been coping too well since she died. The last thing he needs is to see it all dragged up again.
Especially as there's still some things he doesn't even know about. I think I'll go over and see him later on.
You're not going to tell him?
No, of course not. But he hasn't been called as a witness like I have, and I might just suggest it'd be better if he doesn't go to court. You'd better hurry your breakfast if you're going to catch the school bus.
Well, I'd get there in half the time if Dad took me on the back of the bike.
Well, hard luck. He's only done that bike up so he can sell it.
Come on, mate. You'll have to get your bus pass out. I am going to sell it. You know, eventually. I just want to see how it runs first.
Vic, we need the money.
Well, we wouldn't if we...
Get divorced. I thought we decided not to even think about it until after the trial.
Well, it's hard not to, isn't it? When you know there's 30 grand there for the taking.
Go on. Go on, girl. That's it. Go on.
Help! Help! Help!
Seth! Ned? Seth, can you get David to fetch the tracks and hurry, mate, please? Come on, baby. right. You're gonna have to bring the tractor closer to the edge, love.
No, you won't do that.
What are you talking about, Seth? We've got to get them out.
That's not the way to do it. We don't know what made this bank give way. Wait at tractor might bring even more down on them.
Right on top of Ned and David. Well, we've got to do something.
I think I've got answers.
OK, all right. Yeah. Just make it clean, no one will know the difference, mate. Oh, well. OK, you got it? All right. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Right. That's a tenner to Andy Churchill. That's my commission, £1. Did you manage to persuade Alan Turner?
No. And I didn't know post offices were supposed to deal in old car doors.
You tell me we need to make money, then you moan at me for making it. I can't win, can I?
I just don't want this place stacked floor to ceiling with junk.
Viv, the way it's going, I'll have shifted all the stuff from Wally's yard in no time. All the rest is just passing through. But it's making us a nice little profit on the way.
I'll look after that.
Oi.
Well, if I have to phone the council to move the rest of that junk, they'll probably charge. This ought to cover it.
I'll get these out of the way.
Yeah, you better.
Horses not going to be much good, Seth. It hasn't got strength to lift cattle.
It can help to pull them out. On top of which is more sure-footed than a tractor, and he don't weigh as much. Come on, hold him, love.
Cheers, Seth.
I think bank's low enough to get her out of here.
It's never going to work, Dad.
I think we better do it, because we can kiss this job goodbye for sure.
Come on. Here we go. Nearly there. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Come on, baby.
Come on, girl.
Cheers. Now, I've already got customers for both of these, so it's just my commission to come out. Is that all right?
Fine, yeah.
Right, you get anything else, pop it round. Back door.
What's that, Vic?
It's just some old gypsy selling clothes pegs.
Well, can you get back into the shop? I can't do everything.
Well, we did it.
No, David. Seth did it.
No, Samson did it. A one-horse rescue team, this.
How's the cow?
Better than you'd expect.
I reckon I better get Zoe Tate down and examined just to be on the safe side.
You okay, David?
I am all right. I reckon next time I have a bath, I'll do it without cows, though.
Jack's gonna go balmy.
It weren't your fault, Ned. You weren't to know that land were going to subside.
I hope Jack sees it same way when he gets back. Either way, we owe you a drink anyway, Seth.
And once I know. And you better get one for him and all, else he'll start sulking.
Aye, he's earned it.
No one's going near the wool patch till they clean themselves up a bit. So come on.
Ah, she's got a point, son.
You shouldn't have torn it up.
What would you have me do, frame it?
You should have given it to the police. It's evidence.
What good would that do?
Well, they can protect you. It was no good trying to play the hero because that's just stupid.
Look, when I was inside, some of the men elected to take Rule 43. Sex offenders, mainly. They can get separated out for their own protection.
Look, you've got nothing to do with those sort of people. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, but the point is, some of them still got beaten up. You can't protect anyone 24 hours a day, even in there. So you see, I can't hide behind the police, or Mum, or you. If the Dingles know I'm running scared, I might just as well have stayed inside.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye. No.
Oh.
What now?
I've done a deal with the ladies of the Women's Institute. I'm going to flog their stuff on commission. I thought you'd be pleased. This is more than just private enterprise. This is part of our community role.
Very commendable. But I think I should issue a word of caution.
Eh?
I believe we made quite a lot of money selling refreshments at the kids' rave.
Nothing wrong with that, is there?
No, apart from trading without the appropriate licenses and wildly overcharging, no.
What's it got to do with you, anyway?
Just being neighbourly, in case you're thinking of starting up a stall tomorrow at the concert.
We are.
Well, I'd reconsider that if I were you. I'd hate to see you landed with a hefty fine. The place will be swarming with police after what happened last time.
Well, if they're expecting that much trouble, wouldn't it be better to cancel the whole thing?
I only wish I could.
What's stopping you? Frightened of losing your profit?
No, I would do so willingly. Unfortunately, Mrs. Eggleton is determined to be a pop promoter, and I haven't the heart to disappoint her. All I can do is try and limit the damage.
What's he up to now?
I don't know. But whatever it is, he won't do Uncle Eric any harm, that's for sure.
Sorry, were you just about to go out?
No, it's okay. What's on your mind?
Well, it's... Oh, David I came to see. We're reopening the game farm.
Oh, yeah, I heard.
Someone recommended you as a possible gamekeeper.
I see.
Well, he's still looking for work.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's not the sort of job you're interested in.
I'd love to do it.
Good.
Only we thought Seth was your gamekeeper.
He was when Alan Turner ran the place. Out of sentiment, really. Oh, he's far too old now. And he's not exactly the image we want for the place.
How do you mean?
Well, he's a wonderful old character, but tact isn't one of his strong points. We're expecting to get some quite, well, influential customers when we reopen. We couldn't possibly risk exposing them to Seth. No, David fits the bill much better.
Oh, thanks.
Right, well, all we need to do is have a talk about wages, plans, hours, that sort of thing. So perhaps you could give me a ring sometime?
Yeah, of course.
Good. Well, I'll see myself out.
Thanks
Bye.
again. Well, looks like I've got myself a job. You might look pleased for me.
Oh, of course we are. It's great news.
But who's going to tell Seth?
Glad to see you getting more help in here. Give you a chance to take things a bit easier.
Yes, I doubt whether I'll be able to tonight, though. It's the Dominoes Championship. It's bound to be full, then.
You see, that's the sort of event that people really want. We should never got involved in this pop concert.
No problems.
I don't mind telling you, Alan, it is a nightmare. Now there are rumours of escaping methane gas on the site.
Really? That's awful. I'll have to cancel.
Yeah, I only wish I could, but Betty won't hear of it. She's a very forceful woman.
Yeah, she is. Well, do you want me to talk to her, boy?
No. I won't do any good. I tell you what, though. We can do something. Most of the villagers will be here tonight. Have a word. Try and persuade them not to go.
Doesn't that mean you'll lose money?
Well, it's a small price for public safety. And if nobody does turn up, then she'll have to see sense.
There you go, Seth. Get that down your neck.
Cheers.
And that's for Samson.
Look, I don't want to put the mockers on our little celebration, but there's something I need to talk to you about.
You needn't bother. I know what's going on.
You do?
I'm not as daft as people think. I know all about this psychedelic warfare. You're going to try and out-psych me before the domino match tonight, aren't you? Well, that's been tried before by experts and they got nowhere. I've got nerves of steel, me.
I'm sure you have.
So you might as well take your hiding, then we'll have a friendly drink after, and I'll see if Samson gets that. Just excuse me a minute.
I know you're going to break it to him gently, Dad. But I don't think it worked.
Sounds like I've been summoned to see the school governors.
Oh?
They weren't too pleased with my appearance with the nobbies, and after what's happened to Luke, they're convinced I'm prone to scandal.
You've done nothing wrong.
Oh, I can handle them. It's just Luke I'm worried about.
Yeah, it must be awful for him. Especially when he doesn't know if the police are going to throw another charge at him.
And what's worse is that he doesn't seem to want us to help him. I just don't know how to get through to him. So I thought a quick gallop across the countryside might help to clear the cobwebs.
I always do that when I want to think things through.
And I'd be grateful for any pearls of wisdom you have to offer.
As long as you return the favour.
Huh?
Frank gets out of hospital on Thursday. I just don't know what to expect. As long as I've known him, he's worked virtually 24 hours a day. And now he's got to slow down, take things easy.
And you don't think he's going to be a very good patient?
I'm not sure. I'm going to be a lousy nurse. I'm supposed to be getting married next month. I just don't know what to do for the best. Come on.
Thanks for the warning, Mr. Pollard.
My pleasure.
Have a pint, please, Jane.
Have you heard about this pop concert?
What?
Well, apparently the drug squad are going to be down from Leeds. They've had a tip-off about crack dealing. Well, I was doubtful about letting our Linda and Davy go anyway after what happened last time. But now, I am definitely putting my foot down.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Seth got your old man on the run yet?
Oh, he's already one leg up.
What?
Well, he beat him easy last time.
Well, last time was just a friendly. This time there's money on it. That's a relief. Seth's back on form. I got a tenner on him.
Don't start cutting your winnings just yet. Ned just made a silly mistake, that's all. You won't do it again. It's out the third leg for sure.
Well done, Seth. I told you he'd walk it.
I'd say you were very lucky, Victor. And therefore, you can buy me a drink.
All right.
Congratulations, Seth. The best man won.
I'm not too sure about that, Ned.
Don't be so modest. You earned every penny of that prize money.
Why did you chuck game away?
I didn't. You outplayed me.
Was it because I helped with them cows? I'd have done that for anybody.
I know.
Well, at least we could share prize money.
Don't be so daft.
I'm not being daft. I know you and Jack would do it cash.
Forget it.
Don't be so hasty. You never know when you might need it. If Joe come back from Spain, you could be out of work. Me and Betty are sitting pretty. She'll do a bomb on that concert. And before long, I'll be topping my pension up with my gamekeeper's wages.
I don't want your money, Seth.
Seth? You polished that game off far too quickly. My customers still need entertaining. Time you got on the pianola, eh?
Told him, have you?
I can't. How can I? How can I tell him he's back on the scrap heap and my son is putting
Morning, Kim.
It's about time they got something organised with that shop.
Oh, it's not been easy for them, has it? What with Sarah and the baby being in hospital.
They're back today, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I must have a word. I don't want to be unsympathetic, but it's bad for the image of the place. Makes us look inefficient. Oh, Nick, have you got the fields organised for the motorbike rally?
Nearly. I've just got to mow them and roll them.
Well, it should have all been done by now.
Kim, we don't need to be ready until next week.
I've got exhibitors coming in all the time. I'd like them to get the right impression.
All right, I'll get it sorted.
Good. Oh, and could you put some cut flowers round at Home Farm? I want the place to look nice when Frank gets home later.
Pleasure. Good to see him back.
Yeah. Mind you, he'll be convalescing for a few months, so you'll still be working to me.
I was afraid of that.
Hello, Sarah. Welcome back.
Hi, Kim.
How's the baby?
Oh, she's much better, thanks. How's Frank?
Well, I'm just on my way to pick him up. So, life will be getting back to normal soon. For us all. I don't want to rush you, but I'd be grateful if you could give some thought to the farm shop. We've been losing an awful lot of business down there.
Are you saying it's my fault?
No, of course not. But if there are problems, perhaps you and Jack might consider getting someone to work there full-time. Dolores is a great worker, but she can only do it outside school hours. I'm sorry if it seems insensitive, but if we don't organise something soon, we'll have missed the best months of the season.
Kim, I don't give a damn about the farm shop. I've got more important things to worry about.
Yes, well, perhaps I'd better talk to Jack.
Yeah, you do that.
Morning. Morning. Hi, Seth. Oh. Hello, Alan.
Eric, I wanted to have a word with you.
Oh, yeah?
I'm really dreading this trial next week. Viv Windsor tried to persuade me not to go. She said I ought to forget about Shirley's murder, that life has to go on and all that. I mean, what do you think? I always admired the way you coped with Elizabeth's death.
What was really important to me was knowing exactly what happened. It made me feel closer to her somehow.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Eric. You've made up my mind for me. I will go to court next week.
Good boy. I think you made the right decision. And just remember, if you need any support, you just have to call. It's what friends are for, eh?
Well, if it's agreeable with you, we'll get a contract drawn up for you to sign.
Thanks.
It's going to be quite a rush to get things organised.
Well, I'm not afraid of hard work.
Glad to hear it. But I've already made inquiries about getting some birds brought in. So, shouldn't give us any problems.
Good.
It'll be up to you to get the game farm itself ready on time. I take it you can start straight away.
Well, I'd just like to get some things sorted out first.
I thought you were out of work. You don't have to give notice to another employer, do you?
No. I just thought you ought to speak to Seth Armstrong about it.
Oh, right. Yes, that might be a good idea. He's got years of experience, including every dodge and shortcut in the book. So don't let him teach you any bad habits. Hi, Nick. Do you know Nick Bates, our gardener?
Yeah, aye.
David will be taking over as gamekeeper when we reopen the game farm.
Oh, right.
Be a good idea if you two went up there together. Assess the work to be done.
Yeah, of course.
Right, I'll leave you to organise that. I've got to get to the hospital and collect Frank. You sorted the flowers out?
Yeah.
Good. See you later.
So, you're taking over Seth's job, are you?
Look, you don't have to say anything. I feel bad enough about it already. It's not my fault. I needed the work.
Does he know yet?
No. I was going to tell him this afternoon.
Oh, well, do me a favour, will you, and wait until after the radio show. Don't want to spoil his moment of glory now, do we?
Betty?
Oh. Hello, Eric. Are you going to the village hall?
No, I can't. Pressure of work, but I'm glad I ran into you. Saves me posting this. It's the finalised accounts for the concert.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you saved the stamp. It'll probably double our profits.
Rather more serious than that, Betty. Hardly worth joking about.
No, well, I mean, I know not as many people turned up as we expected.
And a lot that did come, they demanded their money back, and their invoices still to be paid. Plus a bill for extra policing and a claim from Rasputin's Nightmares for damages to equipment. I've itemised it all. Please, go through it before you send me your cheque, eh?
Oh, I've already sent you my cheque.
That wouldn't cover the solicitor's fees for dealing with the Rasputin group.
You expect me to pay you 19,000?
I'm trying to keep it down to that.
You never told me there was a possibility of something like this happening.
That's business for you. I don't suppose he'd be complaining if it was 19,000 profit.
I haven't got this sort of money.
I am prepared to give you a few weeks to raise it if you think it will help. Couldn't you sell something?
Trusted you, Eric. I see now that was a mistake.
Well, I'm sorry you take it that way.
You will be. You're not getting another penny out of me.
You have signed a legally binding agreement, and willingly or not, I'm going to make sure you keep to it.
Glad to be home.
Yeah. Bit nervous.
Oh?
I didn't enjoy being at the hospital much, but being surrounded with all that technology, at least you know they're ready for everything.
We're only a short drive away. I had a long talk with the doctor, And he's sure you just need a few months' convalescence and you'll be back to your old self. Come on. Yep, just leave it with me. Bye now.
I'm sorry. This is a lot of extra work for you.
Oh, I'm not complaining.
You've got enough on your plate running the business, looking after me. How is the Heritage Farm and Holiday Village?
I've got absolutely no intention of telling you. You're not supposed to be thinking about work, remember?
A little progress report wouldn't do any harm.
Except you couldn't listen without making a few suggestions. And we both know where that would lead. I am quite capable of keeping the ship on course. So you'll just have to learn to trust me.
You're one of the people I do trust.
And we all know where that can lead to.
You're right. We got all the time in the world.
Oh, well done, Seth. You were marvellous.
I didn't realise you were such an expert, Seth.
Well, giving your wife quite a few tips. You ought to come down to my allotment and you can have benefit of my advice.
Can I have a word, Seth?
Are you wanting my advice and all?
Aye, in a way. It's a bit more than that. Kim Tate's offered me your old job up on Game Farm. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna take it.
Home farm. Oh, hello, Seth. No, I'm afraid you can't talk to Frank. He's resting and I don't want him disturbed. He's just got out of hospital, Seth, and he doesn't want to be bothered about anything to do with the business. Well, if you want to discuss the game farm, you're going to have to talk to me.
We know how you feel, but you've still got your job at the Heritage Farm. And it's not such long hours or such hard work.
And you think I'm too old to be a gamekeeper and all?
No, I just reckon that you can spend more time out and about. Enjoy yourself. That's what life's all about.
I enjoy being a gamekeeper. That were my life.
I appreciate that. I want to learn from you. I like to think that I could come to you for advice.
I've given enough good advice for one day.
Well, maybe when you've had time to think about it, you might change your mind.
We don't want to fall out with you about this, Seth. It's not our fault.
No, I don't blame you, Ned. It's her. Kim Tate, she's at bottom of this. This had never happened if Frank Tate hadn't been in hospital.
Well, she seems to be in charge now.
I'm enjoying every minute of it, bossing me and Nick around. She was only secretary before he married her. Anyway, he's back now, so we'll see what happens. And don't be too sure about getting my job. Frank Tate's back, and he might have different ideas. She won't even let me talk to Frank.
No, we've both been badly treated, Seth.
This isn't the sort of celebration we planned.
Well, I've only got myself to blame. I were too greedy. Should have known better at my age.
They must have lost money in Sen. You were in it together.
I don't know. I mean, that's what it was supposed to be, but it was me signing papers, signing cheques. I never saw him do any.
And now you're saddled with a bill for 19,000. I suppose you'll have to sell it field now. It's the only way you'll raise money.
He had it all planned. He wanted the concert to fail.
Very rotten looking.
Sit down. We'll get nowhere by losing our tempers.
Can't let him get away with that.
We won't. But with people like Eric Pollard and Kim Tate, you've got to learn to fight cunning with cunning.
A punch-up nose would be quicker.
Patience, Seth. They'll regret crossing us. You'll see.
I feel I'm not in charge of my own life anymore. Everything is governed by doctor's orders. Take your pills, take it easy, don't get stressed. A lot of don'ts. And you know how I don't like that word. The one thing that kept me going was knowing that I was coming out to you. I'd start thinking about the wedding, and then I'd cheer up again. But now I realise how much life is going to change for you, as well as me. How much I'm going to depend on you to look after me and run the business. It's all going to be on your shoulders now. And I don't have the right to assume that everything is going to be okay.
What are you trying to say, Frank?
I love you more than ever. But I can't hold you to a promise that you made before all this happened. So I have to ask you, do you still want to take this rather old man to be your lawful, wedded husband?
Of course I do. I only wanted to say that I thought it might be a good idea if we postpone the wedding till you're feeling better.
Yes. Then I can concentrate on getting my strength up for the big day. Whenever it is. It'll give me an incentive to stick to these damn doctor's orders. Thanks. Knowing it's all going to be okay between us is the best tonic I could have.
How do I look?
Great.
Oh, I don't feel it. I'm scared stiff.
How many more times? You're not the one that's on trial.
Well, it doesn't make it any easier. I just started to feel better about things. Now I've got to dredge up all those awful memories.
Look, it'll all be over with after today.
For me, maybe. I just hope Alan Turner doesn't hear anything that's going to send him even further downhill.
Well, you did your best to persuade him not to go.
I love you, Vic. It's only 8:30, you know.
Which means you've got to get a move on or you're going to be late.
I've still got some homework to finish off.
We'll do it on the bus. I always did. Anyway, it's your own fault for leaving everything to the last minute.
Oh, my fault. I was working in a shop last night and I had my round this morning. That's exploitation, cheap labour.
Scott, your mum's in court today. Hasn't she got enough on her plate without seeing her only son smashed to a pulp in front of her eyes?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Mum.
Good luck. Thanks. Well, I better be off or I'll miss my bus.
Hey, I don't care if it is only 8:30. I love you too. And I'll be thinking of you.
Thanks.
Scott!
Well, I suppose I ought to be going, really.
You still worried about it?
I must seem the most awful coward.
Would it make you feel any better if I came along with you?
Well, I can't ask you to do that. You've got your own work to do.
Yes, well, I do have some rather important bits of business I can't really put off, but I suppose I could rush through them.
I would appreciate the support.
Right. Well, I'll come over to the court as soon as I've finished.
Thank you, Eric.
See you later.
December. Right, I'm off up to the Heritage Farm.
Enjoy yourself.
You'll be right on your own.
Of course.
Well, I fixed up with the car company that they've got a car and driver available whenever you want. So if you want to go somewhere, just call.
No, I think I'll have a nice, relaxing day at home.
Probably best.
No need to worry about me. I'm not like Chris, you know. I'm really looking forward to a bit of time off. I'll be able to catch up on all the things that I've always been too busy for.
That's the spirit.
I've collected up all the books that I've meant to read and never got round to.
It'll take you a while to get through that lot.
There's plenty of time. Could you post this for me? I'm sending off for a Spanish course. I know I should be taking it easy, but if I can master a European language, it'd be good for when I get back to work.
Frank, rest and recuperation does not have to be managed, programmed, or time-tested. You just enjoy doing nothing. Like lying on a beach in the sun, listening to the waves lapping on the sand. Okay, I'll post it. Just don't go taking on too much.
No chance. I'm going to sit here with my feet up and let you do all the hard work.
I shall see you tonight.
Windsor.
Why? I've just seen a barrister. The case might be delayed a bit.
Well, courts always seem to run late, don't they?
Yeah. There's a canteen down in the basement. Fancy a cup of tea?
I haven't long had breakfast. I think I'd rather stay here.
This place gives me the shivers. Might be easier to relax over a nice cuppa.
Well, you go ahead. Don't worry about me. I feel much better about the whole thing. Eric's been very supportive. He's going to come and sit in the public gallery with me later.
Well, that's good of him.
Well, he should be here soon. He's just got a few loose ends to tie up at work.
Right. Well, I'll see you later.
Councillor Hawkins, please. Eric how kind of you to remember. Thank you. Jim, the situation with Betty Eggleton has been resolved. Yes. She will now have to sell that strip of land.
Now, I'd like you to tell the court, in your own words, about the events that began on the morning of the 24th of May, Mrs. Windsor.
I was on my own in the shop, and
I'm sorry, Mrs. Windsor. I realise this must all be very distressing for you, but it would help the court if you could speak up a bit.
I'm sorry. I was on my own in the shop. I was stacking shelves when suddenly 3 masked men burst in with baseball bats. One of them grabbed me and put his hand over my mouth and told me to stay quiet. I've never been so terrified in all my life.
Now, you've stated that the men were all masked at the time. Did you subsequently see their faces?
I didn't see the one that got away in the car.
But the other two, you saw them?
Yeah.
And are you now able to identify the man who grabbed and threatened you on that fateful morning?
Yes. It's him. The accused. He was aiming the gun and then he fired. I didn't know what happened at first. Then I saw the blood. And I knew Shirley had been shot.
Now, I'm sorry to press you on this, Mrs. Windsor. I do realise how painful it must be for you to remember, but my learned friend here is seeking to suggest that the accused was not party to the murder of Mrs. Turner or your kidnap. So I must ask you, where was the accused when Mrs. Turner was shot?
He was there in the room. We were all together, Reg, Colin, me and Shirley.
So it was after Mrs. Turner's death that the accused made his escape from the building?
Yeah.
Leaving you, a defenceless woman, with a man he'd just seen commit a vile and terrible murder?
Yes.
And throughout this ordeal that you and Mrs. Turner suffered, the accused was himself armed with a revolver?
Yes.
And yet he made no attempt to restrain Dawson. Not even to prevent him committing murder.
No. Except to tell him to give himself up.
There were armed police surrounding the building at this time?
Yes.
So it was only a matter of time before he was in police custody?
Yes.
Now, if he was really concerned about you, he would hardly have abandoned you at that moment, would he?
No. Well, I'm not sure. I mean, all I could think of was Shirley. She was so still. I knew she was dying, but there's nothing I could do.
Are you able to go on, Mrs. Windsor?
I'm sorry. It's just that she was so brave. She tried everything she could to stop Reg tagging me, and in doing that, she lost her own life. If it hadn't been for her, I know I never would have survived. I owe her my life.
If your lordship agrees, I think it will be appropriate to adjourn for lunch to allow Mrs. Windsor to compose herself.
Hello, boy.
Glad to see someone still likes me.
Scott, stop messing about with that horse and give us a hand, will you?
Take some advice from me. Don't go anywhere near the shop. Dad tries to sell anything that isn't nailed down.
Come on. Right. There you are. Got yourself a real bargain there, madam. Thank you. I'm not giving no guarantees.
Thompson? Come on, lad. We've got work to do.
What's she doing back home, anyway?
Oh, I just forgot my maths homework. I'll go back in a minute.
Hi. I'm sorry I couldn't get here earlier. Been thinking about you all day. Hope it hasn't been too much of an ordeal.
No, not for me. But poor Vivian, she got very upset giving her evidence just before lunch. Poor girl. It was all very harrowing. But I hope I'm not being callous when I say that what she had to say was a great comfort to me.
What was that?
It confirmed that even at the end, Shirley was putting other people before herself.
Yes. Well, she always did. Look at the way she devoted herself to the drop-in centre.
I'm just sorry that Vivian had to go through all that to remind me.
It does seem unnecessary. It's an open shut case, surely. I mean, he has pleaded guilty.
No, to armed robbery, but he's denying kidnap and murder.
I suppose he's trying to put the blame on that psychopath that was married to Viv.
But the prosecution won't let him get away with that. Come on, he should be giving his evidence about now. You know, Eric, I'm not a vindictive man, but I want to see him punished after the sickening things I've heard today. I'm just sorry they've abolished hanging.
Now, Mr. Long, you've already admitted your part in the robbery of the 24th of May of this year.
Yes, sir.
And yet you claim not to have been involved in the planning of the enterprise.
That's correct, sir. Reg Dawson planned it. He just recruited the rest of us.
But you were aware of the nature of the job?
Yes, sir.
You knew you were going in armed with baseball bats and handguns?
Yeah, well, that was Reggie's idea as well. He provided all that stuff.
But you all carried them, so you must have been expecting violence.
Yeah, well, we didn't want to hurt anyone. We just wanted to get in, get the money and get out.
I put it to you, Mr. Long, that it was always the intention to take Dawson's ex-wife hostage.
Of course not. I didn't know he was going to take anybody hostage, did I?
But you knew it in the post office when you threatened Viv Windsor. You knew it on the highway when you held her and Mrs. Turner at gunpoint.
Got him. Well, I was a bit frightened of Reg, you know, what he might do to me if I didn't help.
Well, the jury may feel it would have been better if you were frightened for the safety of your hostages.
Well, I had intended to get them away when it was safe.
How? By dragging them across the countryside at gunpoint? By holding them captive and terrified at home farm? By standing and watching Dawson murder Mrs. Turner in cold blood?
It wasn't like that. It's not like he's making out.
Well, then perhaps you'd better tell the jury how it was, Mr. Long.
No. Must take it easy. She can do that. Wow. Another hour. Must be time for a cuppa, Peggy. Well, obviously, I'd have never agreed to do the robbery if I'd have known what Reg was really like.
Oh, come now, Mr. Long. Are you telling the jury that you expected Dawson to behave like a Sunday school teacher during the crime?
No. I mean, I know he'd done a few post offices and banks. What I didn't know was he was insane.
Ah. So between agreeing to the crime and executing it, you became qualified to make such a diagnosis, did you, Mr. Long?
I didn't need to be qualified. We could all see it. And if Shirley was here, she'd tell you the same. And if Shirley had realised sooner, she'd still be alive now.
What do you mean?
Well, she started giving him the come on to quieten him down.
I think you'd better explain that remark to the court.
Well, she pretended to fancy him and he fell for it. She really got him going. And then after he'd slept with her, made him even worse.
Excuse me, Mr. Long, but are you saying that Mrs. Turner slept with the deceased?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she did.
and it made him worse. And that's when he killed her.